Darn it, how am I supposed to get out of here? One of these trailer hitches has got to be the hitch home. Oh no. No, not these guys again. No! While I appreciate them bringing me back here, I could have done without the probing. Welcome to Cryptid Caravans. We're hauling in new monsters all the time. Speaking of daggum aliens, the creature, or creatures we are looking at today, might be from out of this world. So grab your alien killer. There we go. While we take a look at the Hopkinsville Goblins, also referred to as the Kelly Goblins or the Kentucky Goblins. As you may guess, they were sighted in the area surrounding the towns of Kelly and Hopkinsville, Kentucky, about 70 miles north of Nashville, Tennessee. Their alien-like appearance includes silvery skin, large glowing eyes, and pointy ears. Live long and prosper. And they only stand about 3 foot tall. Their legs are described as scrawny looking, and they don't so much as walk on them as they float around. Their floating motion was described as if they were wading through water. Or was it maple syrup? The first sighting of these creatures came in the night of August 21st, 1955, at a farmhouse outside of Hopkinsville. The Taylor family of Pennsylvania were visiting their friends, the Sutton family. Billy Ray Taylor and his achy-breaky heart went out to grab some water from the well when he saw a UFO streak by and land nearby the farm. Well, he ran back to the house and reported what he'd witnessed. They believed he was just trying to pull a fast one on them. Especially after that time he told them it was possible to lick your elbow. But he was serious, so they told him it was likely a shooting star or a meteor he spotted up there. Then later in the night, the family dog started barking constantly. Billy Ray and Lucky Sutton went out there to see what the racket was, shotguns in hand. Lucky didn't live up to his nickname that night. From a glowing light among the trees, one of the little creatures appeared with its hands raised. I figured it probably went down a little something like this. I bring you love.
It's bringing love! Don't let it get away!
Break its legs!
When they shot at the creature, it flipped backwards and scurried back to the woods. A neighbor happened to both see the light and hear the gunshot and assumed the Suttons were scaring bobcats off their pig herd. Lucky and Billy Ray returned to the house and told them of the space goblin they encountered. Everyone was on edge, and the children were sent to bed, where dreams of goblins danced in their head. As they sat in the living room, a goblin appeared in the doorway, giving them an awful scare. Billy Ray shot at it, putting a hole through his screen door. When the goblin disappeared in the night, Billy Ray followed it outside, but when he stepped on the porch, a clawed hand reached down and grabbed his hair. His wife quickly pulled him back in fear. Lucky then stepped out and put a shotgun slug in the goblin. Finally, it's like someone in a horror movie finally listens to me. The goblin tumbled off the roof and floated into the woods. Then another goblin appeared standing outside the window to the farmhouse. Billy Ray and Lucky's brother J.C. fired at it, but again this one just retreated to the woods. For the next few hours, the goblins would pop up around the house and trees waving their hands up. Like an old carnival shooting gallery. Top scorer gets a goldfish.
After a while, they went into the nearby town of Hopkinsville to report the attacks to the local sheriff. With a little convincing, Chief Greenwald believed the Suttons and Taylor's account. He radioed the state police and Fort Campbell Army Base.
He'd have called the A-team too, but he couldn't find them.
They all went out and researched the scene. Even the newspaper sent a photographer out there. Their search turned up bullet holes in the window and spent shells mostly. There was a shimmering substance reported where one of the goblins had been shot. Without any solid leads, the police packed up and went home.
And you think that's where the story ends? Well, you'd be wrong, partner.
At 3 a.m., a goblin showed up peeking through a bedroom window.
He must have been the pervy Uncle Goblin.
Once morning finally broke, the attack on the Sutton household seemed to end.
Now that encounter is considered the most popular and possibly only sightings of the creatures. That's why we call them the Hopkinsville Goblins.
But there is possibly one more sighting of these space-age cryptids. A man found an account written down in his grandfather's journal. The grandfather was riding his horse through some grasslands when he spotted what he figured were owls.
Who?
That stood about 4 feet tall. As he rode up on them, they didn't startle and fly off like a bird should. Instead, they seemed to study the man and his horse. He tried to scare them off, but they simply kept watching him. The man finally gave up and rode home when the creature started to approach him.
Now, while this account does sound strange, the man never really described them as a Hopkinsville Goblin. So for all we know, he could just come across a pair of really angry buzzards. But there is also a more recent account.
In 2012, a man referred to as David said his family were assaulted by strange creatures that he described as extraterrestrials at their house in Pike County. They would leave footprints in the yard and peek in the windows at night.
Ah, now that sounds familiar.
He added that they seemed to chirp to each other, and at one point they stole his dog.
Now that's taking it too far. That's how you get Keanu Reeves after you.
His daughter reported watching the hairless kids play in the yard at night, and after a few months, David tracked the goblins to a nearby abandoned mine and believed that they were based out of there.
Has anything good ever come out of a mine besides coal and gold and Big Bad John?
When it comes to theories, the main one is the goblins are indeed spacemen. The support behind this theory is their appearance, the lights in the sky, their seeming invulnerability to gunshots, and Lucky reporting the bullets made a metal pinging sound when they struck. Though their intentions are unclear, with some saying that their raised hands meant that they came in peace.
Yeah, 'cause you can trust an alien.
Another supernatural explanation could be that they were in fact goblins as described in the old folk tales. They match the look with the pointy ears and short stature.
Probably one of them Gringotts loan collectors. They don't mess around. But now let's look at some of the more grounded theories.
The light Billy Ray saw could very well have been an unrelated meteor streaking across the sky, not an alien UFO. As for the goblins, many point to a loose similarity between them and great horned owls. They have the same head shape, and it isn't unheard of for one of them to attack people. The silvery sheen could simply be a trick of the moonlight.
Of course, if that were so, I would think with all that lead being thrown at them, there'd be at least one dead owl.
Of course, that shimmering substance on the ground could have been some blood from an owl that got winged.
Winged.
But owls usually don't make their homes in mines either.
Or, of course, Kentucky is known for its good bourbon. And while the goblins don't have a drink named after them, they have appeared in other forms of media.
2 years ago, an independent stage musical named It Came From Kentucky and a film called The Great Kentucky Goblin Spree debuted. Steven Spielberg even drew inspiration for his Close Encounters of the Third Kind from the case. And the Sutton account is examined in Geraldine Stith's Alien Legacy. And like other famous cryptids, Hopkinsville holds a yearly festival on the event's anniversary called Little Green Men Days.
Even though they were silver, but that's arguing semantics. And the goblins even made it across the ocean.
The Pokemon named Sableye took strong inspirations from the goblins.
The goblins haven't been sighted often, but whether it is an alien or an owl, probably don't hurt to keep your eye towards the sky. But I just give you the history. You decide for yourself. Oh crap, they're coming back around.